Hello, miladies of inestimable value. The most underestimated weapon in the modern world isn't charm, beauty, or status. It's a woman who thinks beyond emotion. Every era has its warriors. Some fight with armies, others with words. But Sigma females, they fight with silence, observation, and frightening precision. While most people are busy trying to be seen, Sigma females are busy understanding what everyone else has already missed. According to a cognitive psychology study from the University of Cambridge, individuals who spend more time alone tend to develop higher analytical reasoning and deeper emotional control. That's not solitude, that's mental evolution in disguise. And that's exactly where the Sigma female reigns. She's not out here playing chess with society. She's quietly inventing new rules while everyone else argues over who gets to move first. Her mind isn't just sharp, it's layered like encrypted code, unreadable to the untrained and lethal to manipulators. People think she's distant. Some even call her too serious. But what they don't realize is she's running silent calculations while you're still buffering emotionally. She doesn't waste brain power decoding compliments or chasing approval. She reserves her mental bandwidth for what actually matters: truth, timing, and transformation. And sure, she might smile politely while someone's bragging about their grind set. But in her head, she's already mapped their insecurities, weaknesses, and the exact point where their ego will implode. That's not arrogance. That's what happens when intellect evolves past the need to impress. This is why Sigma females are the mental titans among us, the quiet conquerors of thought, the architects of self-control, and the women who turn overthinking into a superpower most people will never comprehend. Number 1. They refuse mental parasites. They refuse mental parasites. That's not arrogance. It's mental hygiene. Sigma females have learned that not every conversation deserves entry into their inner world, because not every voice adds value. They understand that energy isn't some mystical thing. It's currency. Every time they listen, empathize, or respond, they spend it. So they've become selective investors in human dialogue. They don't entertain gossip, small talk, or performative vulnerability disguised as deep conversation. If the exchange doesn't spark growth, clarity, or insight, they'll quietly retreat mid-sentence, not out of rudeness, but self-preservation. They know that words carry emotional bacteria. Some people speak to heal, others speak to infect. And Sigma females can sense the difference within seconds. It's why they're masters of silence. They'd rather sit in complete stillness than engage in noise disguised as connection. They've realized most people talk not to communicate, but to offload confusion, dumping emotional garbage on whoever is available. Sigma females simply don't sign up for that kind of emotional landfill duty. They protect their mind like others protect their phones, passworded, encrypted, and with a firm, not everyone gets access policy. They don't absorb people's negativity just to appear kind. They don't lend ears to complainers who never want solutions. They've evolved past the illusion that listening to toxicity is empathy. Real empathy, for them, includes boundaries. Even in relationships, they're mentally vigilant. They listen to patterns, not promises. They notice when someone's words drain them instead of inspire them. They don't confront it with drama. They simply recalibrate their access. You'll see it in small ways: shorter replies, delayed responses, or complete silence. That's not ghosting. That's emotional quality control. And though some may call it cold, it's actually clarity. Sigma females are allergic to conversations that shrink their mind. They crave mental nutrition, ideas that challenge them, emotions that deepen them, people who bring peace instead of turbulence. Their refusal to entertain mental parasites isn't pride, it's protection of their greatest asset, their focus. Because once you've tasted the peace of an uncluttered mind, chaos stops being tempting. And that's the secret. Sigma females don't need to detox from people anymore. They've learned not to ingest poison in the first place. Number 2, they're unapologetically private because their mind is sacred. They're unapologetically private because their mind is sacred. Sigma females don't hide because they're afraid of being seen. They stay private because they understand that access is power. The more people know about you, the more they think they can define you. And for a Sigma female, being defined is the beginning of being controlled. She'd rather be misunderstood than predictable. Privacy to her isn't secrecy, it's sanity. She's not posting every thought, feeling, or plan for validation because she knows that exposure dilutes intention. The moment you announce your move, the world starts interfering with it. Opinions, envy, energy, noise. So she works quietly, lets results speak, and leaves people guessing. That mystery isn't an act, it's armor. She doesn't overshare because she understands that not every listener is safe. Some people only want information to use it, not to understand it. Sigma females have been burned by that before, sharing something personal only to see it twisted or weaponized. Now they speak with precision, not impulse. They've learned that silence can't be misquoted. Even in friendships or relationships, she keeps a mental line between intimacy and intrusion. She can love deeply, but still maintain her inner territory. It's not about pushing people away, it's about keeping her mental ecosystem free from invasion. The fewer people inside, the clearer her thoughts remain. She values her inner peace more than she values being understood, and that's a kind of strength most people never develop. What many see as mystery is actually discipline. It takes emotional control to resist explaining yourself in a world addicted to attention. It takes strength to stay unknown in an era where everyone is performing visibility. While others chase validation through exposure, the Sigma female builds power through silence. Her privacy is her sanctuary, where her thoughts grow without judgment, where her plans form without interference, and where her peace stays untouchable. She knows that real power doesn't announce itself, it's felt. Her quietness isn't emptiness, it's concentration. Because when a Sigma female finally chooses to speak or act, it's never noise, it's precision. And that's why her silence shakes rooms more than most people's shouting ever will. Number 3. They think generationally, not momentarily. They think generationally, not momentarily. Sigma females move with the kind of patience that confuses impulsive minds. They're not interested in fast applause, quick fame, or temporary validation. Those are traps designed to keep people busy while achieving nothing meaningful. Their mind is wired for the long game. Every choice, every silence, every withdrawal has strategy behind it. They don't react to the moment. They prepare for what comes after it. While most people spend energy trying to prove they're ahead, Sigma females are busy planting mental seeds that will still matter years from now. They understand that real impact doesn't come from constant motion. It comes from intentional direction. That's why they don't panic when they're not seen. They know invisible work builds visible empires. They're thinkers of legacy, not popularity. The Sigma female doesn't want her life to just look good. She wants it to mean something, to ripple forward in ways that outlast her. That's why she invests her time in skills, not trends. She values knowledge that multiplies instead of opinions that expire. Her relationships, choices, and even solitude all serve one purpose: long-term evolution. She's not addicted to the instant dopamine hit that comes from likes, validation, or temporary wins. Those are sugar highs for the ego, and she's too mentally disciplined to live off emotional junk food. When others chase approval, she studies momentum. When others rush into noise, she studies timing. And when others burn out trying to be everything at once, she's quietly building a foundation that can't be shaken. This is why people often misread her calmness as detachment. But it's not. It's design. She's playing a different game entirely. She doesn't just want success, she wants continuity, a life that expands, not just impresses. The Sigma female understands something most people miss. The loudest wins are rarely the most lasting ones, so while the world celebrates temporary victories, she stays focused on building something that will echo long after the noise fades. That's not just intelligence, that's foresight, and that's why her power never peaks. It compounds. Number 4. They're fluent in detachment without losing humanity. They're fluent in detachment without losing humanity. Sigma females have mastered the rare art of caring without collapsing. They can feel deeply, but they don't drown in emotion. It's not that they lack empathy, it's that they've learned to manage it with precision. When chaos erupts, they don't get swept away by emotional tides like most people do. Instead, they step back, assess the storm, and decide what deserves their energy. That's not detachment. That's emotional intelligence operating at its highest frequency. They understand that attachment often clouds judgment. Once you get too emotionally invested, logic gets blurry and perception gets biased. So they've trained themselves to love without obsession, to help without control, and to care without ownership. They can withdraw when something feels toxic without the guilt that traps others. That's because their care isn't based on dependency, it's based on awareness. Sigma females know when to walk away, and more importantly, how to do it without bitterness. They don't slam doors or burn bridges, they simply stop feeding what no longer grows. They understand that peace is not the absence of emotion, it's the ability to manage it wisely. Their detachment isn't a wall, it's a filter that protects their humanity from being drained by people who confuse access with entitlement. They can listen to someone's pain without absorbing it. They can comfort without being consumed. That's what makes them mentally unshakable. They stay human, but not hijacked. Where others overextend themselves to prove loyalty, the Sigma female knows when giving turns into self-sacrifice, and she stops right before that line. To many, this balance looks cold, but it's actually compassion evolved. It's the ability to stay kind without being naive, to stay present without being trapped. It's power with tenderness, logic with warmth. Sigma females don't detach because they don't care. They detach because they do, just not at the expense of themselves. That's what makes their presence magnetic and mysterious. You can feel their empathy, but you can't control it. You can reach their heart, but only if you respect their boundaries. That's not indifference, that's mastery. Number 5, they're pattern predators. They're pattern predators, not by choice, but by evolution. Sigma females have developed an almost supernatural sensitivity to behavioral shifts, microsignals, and hidden motives. While others listen to words, they listen to frequency. They catch the slight hesitation before a lie, the forced smile hiding resentment, the subtle drop in tone that exposes insecurity. Their mind doesn't just observe, it decodes. It's not paranoia. It's perception sharpened by years of watching people say one thing and mean another. They don't need evidence. The energy gives it away. When someone's truth doesn't match their tone, they feel it like static in the air, affection that smells too polished. They sense the agenda before it's spoken. They read silence, timing, and inconsistency better than most read text messages. To them, behavior is a language, and they're fluent in its dialects. That's why manipulation rarely works on them. By the time someone's trying to play a game, the Sigma female has already mapped the entire playbook. She knows the rhythm of deceit, how charm comes before control, how flattery hides intent, how over-explaining replaces honesty. She sees it all but rarely exposes it. Instead, she adjusts, observes, and lets people reveal themselves completely. It's not cynicism, it's strategy. This ability makes her both fascinating and intimidating. People feel seen around her, sometimes too seen. It's not that she's judging. She's simply scanning the underlying code of behavior. And when she finds patterns that don't align with authenticity, she quietly detaches. No confrontation, no drama, just calculated distance. Because once she spots a pattern, she knows it won't change without awareness, and she's not here to fix what resists truth. Her brain is wired for pattern recognition beyond people too, in conversations, systems, even opportunities. She notices cycles, repetition, and cause and effect before others can name them. That's why she seems to always be 2 steps ahead. Not lucky, but perceptive. Sigma females don't just see patterns, they anticipate them. That's their silent advantage, the ability to adapt before the world even realizes the shift has begun. And that's what makes them the true mental predators of perception, quietly scanning, decoding, and surviving with elegance and precision. Number 6, they translate loneliness into focus. They translate loneliness into focus. What breaks most people builds them. While others fear silence and chase distraction, Sigma females use solitude like oxygen. They don't see being alone as punishment. They see it as a sharpening ground. When the noise fades and the world stops demanding, that's when their real mind awakens. They think clearer, deeper, and faster when it's just them and their thoughts. Solitude doesn't drain them, it charges them. Loneliness, for most, feels like emptiness. For Sigma females, it's construction time. It's where plans form, ideas breathe, and emotional clutter gets sorted. They use quiet like a forge, burning off what's weak and molding what's strong. Every period of isolation becomes a mental gym where resilience, clarity, and creativity grow stronger through pressure. They don't fight loneliness, they repurpose it. This is why Sigma females often return from isolation more refined, more focused, and sometimes more distant. Not because they've detached from the world, but because they've evolved past its noise. Their solitude gives them a kind of mental power that social dependence can't offer, the ability to generate purpose without needing validation. While others scroll through feeds to fill the void, Sigma females dive inward. They study themselves, their habits, emotions, flaws, not out of vanity, but self-mastery. They understand that the world can only distract you if you're afraid of what you'll find in your own silence. They're not. They've made peace with their inner voice, even when it's brutally honest. That's what makes them dangerous in the best way. Their focus comes from places most people run from. They can turn heartbreak into momentum, rejection into redirection, stillness into strategy. Their loneliness isn't a cry for company, it's a signal that they're recalibrating. For the Sigma female, solitude isn't absence, it's refinement. It's where the unnecessary dies and the essential survives. Every quiet night spent alone, every moment misunderstood, only makes her sharper. Because while others use company to escape themselves, she uses isolation to become unstoppable. Number 7. They understand power as a psychological currency. They understand power as a psychological currency. Sigma females don't chase titles, positions, or social applause. They know those things fade the moment perception shifts. True power to them isn't about being on top, it's about being in control of how others see you. They've mastered the invisible side of influence, the unspoken authority that comes from self-mastery, composure, and mystery. They know that power begins in the mind, not the crowd. When you can regulate your emotions, read a room, and stay unshaken when others react, You control the tone of every interaction. Sigma females use that understanding like quiet chess players, never loud, never desperate, but always aware of how perception shapes reality. They can walk into a space and subtly shift energy without saying a word, simply because they understand how to hold themselves with quiet certainty. They've learned that people follow calmness more than charisma. Confidence wrapped in stillness feels magnetic, and they use that deliberately. While others exhaust themselves trying to be seen, Sigma females create curiosity. They make people want to understand them, but never quite can. That psychological imbalance keeps the power in their hands. They reveal selectively, knowing that the less people know, the more they assume, and assumptions often work in their favor. Sigma females also understand that manipulation and control are not the same thing. Manipulation is about deceit. Control is about awareness. They don't twist people's minds. They simply understand how minds twist themselves. They can observe insecurity, ego, and emotional hunger in others, and predict how those traits will influence decisions. That insight allows them to move strategically, while others move impulsively. Their power isn't theatrical, it's surgical. They don't demand respect. They elicit it. They don't beg for loyalty. They command it through consistency, silence, and an aura that says, "I see through everything." Sigma females understand something simple, yet profound. Perception is power. Once you master how you're seen, you no longer need to compete. And that's the secret. They stopped chasing influence the day they realized they already had it. Number 8. They don't think for approval. They think for clarity. They don't think for approval. They think for clarity. Sigma females have no interest in thinking thoughts that make people comfortable. They think to see things as they really are. While most people edit their opinions to sound agreeable, she sharpens hers to sound accurate. Truth, for her, isn't something to decorate. It's something to dissect. And if the truth makes others uneasy, she doesn't flinch. Comfort isn't her goal. Understanding is. She's not out to win debates or be labeled smart. She's out to make sense of the world, even if that sense contradicts everything society romanticizes. When others follow trends of thought to fit in, Sigma females tear them apart to see what's real and what's just noise. They have no appetite for mental shortcuts. They'd rather face the ugly truth than swallow a sweet lie. That's what makes them intellectually dangerous. They can't be bribed by validation. Their minds don't bend to applause or flattery. If something doesn't make sense, they'll call it out, even if it costs them popularity. Their thinking is clean, unpolluted by ego, social politics, or the need to please. That purity of thought is rare because it comes with a cost: isolation. But Sigma females have made peace with that cost. They'd rather be alone with their clarity than surrounded by people who mistake confusion for open-mindedness. They know the price of truth is misunderstanding, and they're willing to pay it. Their integrity is intellectual, not social. They don't need people to agree with them. They just need their conclusions to be honest. Even in conversation, they listen differently. They don't react to defend their image. They listen to refine their insight. They question everything, not out of rebellion, but precision. And that kind of thinking doesn't seek permission. It seeks accuracy. While most people think to be liked, Sigma females think to see, and that's what sets them apart. Because in a world desperate for approval, the one who can think clearly, without fear, bias, or audience, becomes untouchable. Number 9, they process rejection as redirection. They process rejection as redirection. Sigma females don't crumble when doors close. They simply turn and look for the lesson hidden behind it. Where most people take rejection as proof that they're not enough, Sigma females treat it like feedback, raw information about alignment, timing, or misplaced effort. To them, rejection isn't personal. It's diagnostic. It shows them what doesn't fit, not what they lack. They understand that life isn't a straight path. It's a filter system. Every no removes something that wasn't meant to expand them. So instead of obsessing over what didn't work, they study why it didn't. Was it the wrong environment, wrong person, wrong timing? That calm, clinical detachment turns emotional pain into analysis and analysis into growth. They don't linger on closed doors. They catalogue the data and move forward sharper, clearer, and more precise. This mindset makes them incredibly resilient. When others spiral into self-doubt after rejection, Sigma females recalibrate. They don't waste energy proving their worth to those who couldn't see it. They know that trying to be chosen is the fastest way to lose authenticity. If something or someone doesn't recognize their value, it's not a failure. It's filtration. That's how they maintain emotional power, even in moments of disappointment. They also have an intuitive understanding that rejection protects just as much as it hurts. A missed opportunity might be a misalignment disguised as heartbreak. A lost connection might be divine timing, saving them from long-term chaos. Sigma females don't need to understand it immediately. They trust that clarity always follows distance, that patience gives them an almost unshakable calm. Their ability to treat rejection like redirection makes them appear emotionally invincible. But it's not about coldness. It's about respect for their own path. They know life reroutes them for a reason, and fighting it only delays progress. So they don't chase what left or resent what ended. They take the lesson, seal the chapter, and move on with surgical precision. Because to a Sigma female, rejection doesn't destroy identity. It refines direction, and that's why she never truly loses. Every no simply points her closer to the version of life that actually fits her frequency. Number 10. They hide their mental strength behind femininity. They hide their mental strength behind femininity. Sigma females understand that in a world that often mistakes softness for weakness, silence for ignorance, and beauty for simplicity, invisibility becomes strategy. They know their intellect can be intimidating, so instead of flaunting it, they disguise it. Not out of fear, but out of precision. It's easier to study people when they underestimate you, and Sigma females have turned that into an art form. They've learned that overt displays of intelligence often trigger insecurity or resistance in others, so they wrap their sharpness in grace, gentle tone, calm demeanor, subtle humor. It's a disarming blend that makes people drop their guard. While others are busy talking, proving, and posturing, the Sigma female is quietly observing, collecting data, and understanding motives. By the time anyone realizes how much she's noticed, it's already too late. She's 10 moves ahead. Her femininity becomes her shield and her strategy. She can smile and listen while analyzing the entire room. She can appear modest while internally dissecting the structure of a person's logic. Her calmness isn't submission, it's containment. She knows power doesn't always need to roar. Sometimes it whispers, and that's enough. People often confuse her restraint for naivety, but that's exactly the mistake she counts on, because the less they expect from her, the more space she has to maneuver. That's not manipulation, that's tactical elegance. It's emotional aikido, redirecting energy without ever appearing aggressive. She doesn't fight for dominance, she simply owns it silently. This quiet control extends to every part of her life. In relationships, she never competes to be the smartest. She lets others reveal themselves, then decides what part of her intelligence to show. In leadership, she guides through influence, not intimidation. Her power feels soft, but it shapes outcomes all the same. The beauty of the Sigma female lies in that paradox. She can be gentle without being fragile, feminine without being naive, and silent without being submissive. Her strength is hidden in plain sight, behind calm eyes and a quiet voice. And that's what makes it so dangerous. It's invisible until it's undeniable. Number 11. They are masters of psychological self-regulation. They are masters of psychological self-regulation. Sigma females have developed the kind of inner discipline most people only preach about. Their control isn't built from morning routines or motivational quotes. It's forged from emotional chaos they've already survived. They've learned, through experience, that feelings are powerful, but not always accurate. So they don't let emotions drive their reactions. They let awareness guide them. That's why, even in heated moments, they respond with eerie calm instead of chaos. When others panic, they pause. When others lash out, they analyze. Their first instinct isn't to react, it's to observe what's happening inside them. That mental pause is where their power lives. They understand that every decision made in emotional turbulence carries hidden costs. So they've trained themselves to delay reaction until their mind catches up with their heart. That's not suppression, it's self-command. Sigma females know that emotional control isn't coldness, it's clarity. They can feel pain, anger, or disappointment, and still think rationally through it. It's what makes them unnervingly steady, the ability to stand in the fire and not let it consume them. Their emotions are guests, not captains. They let them speak, but never let them steer. This ability didn't come naturally. It came from learning the hard way that reacting too soon gives power away. So they built an internal system, a kind of emotional firewall, where feelings are filtered before action follows. It's why people can insult them, provoke them, or test them, and they'll barely flinch. They're not passive, they're processing. Their mental neutrality doesn't mean they don't care. It means they choose precision over chaos. While others explode or retreat, Sigma females stay centered, calm, and strategic. They can switch from emotional intensity to logical calculation in seconds, and that's a terrifying level of control to anyone who thrives on drama. Their mind obeys logic, not impulse. That's what separates them from those who confuse reaction with strength. Sigma females don't fight every battle. They choose which ones deserve energy, and they enter those with emotional composure as their weapon. It's not perfection, it's mastery, the quiet kind that turns storms into strategy. Number 12. They sense power imbalances instantly. They sense power imbalances instantly. Sigma females have a rare instinct for reading the invisible currents of dominance, confidence, and control. Most people operate on surface-level interactions, taking words and gestures at face value. Not her. She can feel when authority is authentic and when it's a mask, when confidence is earned versus performed, and when dominance is nothing more than insecurity wearing a loud uniform. That instinct isn't taught. It's honed from observation, intuition, and relentless attention to detail. This sensory acuity acts like a built-in radar for manipulation. She knows when someone is testing her, posturing, or attempting to assert control through subtle intimidation. While others get caught in ego games or flattery traps, the Sigma female sees through the facade immediately. She recognizes when energy is misaligned, when someone is projecting power instead of embodying it, and she doesn't let it dictate her responses. That awareness keeps her steps measured, her energy protected, and her decisions clean. It also allows her to navigate social hierarchies effortlessly. She doesn't need to dominate, compete, or conform, because she can instantly calculate where she stands in the dynamics of influence. She knows which battles are worth engaging, which interactions are traps, and which alliances are genuine. She moves with precision, avoiding the emotional pitfalls that ensnare most people. Her sensitivity to power imbalances extends beyond individuals. She can feel group energy, detect unspoken tensions, and anticipate shifts before anyone else notices. It's like seeing the skeleton of social structure while others are distracted by the flesh. This gives her a kind of invisible leverage, the ability to operate above chaos rather than within it. People often mistake her caution for detachment, but it's strategy. She doesn't react impulsively to authority or aggression because she understands its roots. Confidence built on insecurity can be exploited, but authenticity commands respect, and she responds accordingly. That discernment keeps her unshakable. The Sigma female doesn't just survive power plays. She reads them, anticipates them, and navigates them with quiet precision. She senses imbalance, adjusts instantly, and maintains control of her own energy. That's why she's untouchable. Not because she seeks dominance, but because she refuses to be manipulated. Sigma females are not just rare, they are extraordinary mental forces operating on a level few can even perceive. Every trait, every behavior, every choice they make is calibrated for clarity, precision, and longevity. They think in systems, patterns, and legacies, refusing to allow fleeting emotions or societal expectations to hijack their minds. Their intelligence isn't performative. It's invisible until revealed through results, strategy, or insight. They are architects of perception, masters of emotional regulation, and predators of patterns, quietly navigating a world that often misunderstands them. What makes Sigma females truly exceptional is their ability to blend humanity with detachment, empathy with strategy, and power with elegance. They convert loneliness into focus, rejection into direction, and silence into authority. They operate in a way that is both subtle and overwhelming, disarming yet untouchable. They don't need approval to validate themselves, nor do they chase status to prove their worth. Every thought, every movement, every word is measured against clarity, integrity, and long-term vision. Society may label them aloof, cold, or mysterious, but that's a reflection of fear and misunderstanding, not weakness. The Sigma female is untamed by conventional norms because her mind is her sanctuary and her weapon. She doesn't fight for recognition because she already commands it internally, through knowledge, intuition, and discipline. Her presence isn't loud, it's gravitational, drawing attention, respect, and influence naturally, without a single demand. In a world addicted to noise, attention, and approval, Sigma females are the quiet revolution, thinking, observing, and acting in ways that others cannot even comprehend. They are the mental titans among us, the rare ones who turn intellect into mastery, solitude into power, and awareness into survival. If this deep dive into the world of Sigma females fascinated you, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you never miss content that challenges conventional thinking. Like this video if it opened your eyes to the subtle genius of Sigma females, and share it with anyone who needs to understand the hidden power of mental mastery. Drop a comment below with your thoughts. Let's explore these extraordinary minds together and celebrate the intelligence that quietly rules the world.